about 32 years. And so in that time, obviously a lot of experience with building and some of the issues with building. And also through that time, I've had a chance to make a lot of contact with people. And I've shifted a little bit in my thinking from just not working on the stuff that, you know, we do, but also can I use some of the contacts and some of the experience that I've gained to try to attack some problems that I see. And I think you probably all recognize that government is pretty dysfunctional now. I got out of high school, the Vietnam War was still going on. I know a few people here that were around then, but in all those years, I can't think of a time where the legislative process was so divisive and there was such a stagnation in policy. And so I think that to address some of these big problems that we've got in our society, we're going to need business people, and we're going to need creative people and people with contacts and energy and money to step up and come up with creative solutions. And I think we can have an opportunity to do it better than government because we don't have bureaucracy. We move fast. We can try different things. We don't have to get reelected. So along that line, I got to thinking about 6.5 years ago. In these construction jobs, we built about 1,400 apartments and we managed the construction ourselves. And it's been really obvious to me and obvious to everybody now that there's a severe shortage of skilled labor in this country. We've had jobs where I have a foundation, I couldn't start, and didn't have a carpenter. We've got projects that can't deliver on time. A lot of contractors could do twice as much business as they are doing now if they had the manpower. But we've got a situation, and I looking at my jobs, I noticed almost all of the workers were men, and almost all of them were white. Why is that? I think it's because it's a cultural thing. I grew up in a neighborhood that had a builder, and my father was in the real estate business, so I kind of knew that those were opportunities for me. But you think about a lot of these challenged neighborhoods and neighborhoods where there are a lot of Black and brown kids in a cycle of poverty, they don't have those models. They don't have those people that they can use as mentors, or they could even think that this is a possibility for them. And so I got to thinking, if we're ever going to address this problem, we're going to have to diversify the workforce. And that's not only something that's important for business, because that's the only way you're going to meet the need, but it's also really important for society. It's got double benefits. You know, the more we can get women and people of color and people that have not reached their potential engaging in the American dream and sharing in it, that's a great win-win. So I've been working with the Boys and Girls Club, and I thought, gosh, you know, here's the perfect resource to start working on that problem. You know, it's 7,000 kids roughly in this area served by the Boys and Girls Club. And these are good kids. These are kids that want their lives to be better. But the club does a great job advocating for college for these kids. They've got a program called Avid Tops. It's just fantastic. Because of Avid Tops, the chancellor last year said the freshman class at UW had more people of color in it than they have ever had in their history because of this successful program. But this program gets about 20% of the kids in college. Okay? Half of those kids drop out because they don't have enough money. So here you got 10% of the kids on the pathway through college and 90% of the kids who at the end of high school, roughly, or a little after that, they're on their own and they don't really have another alternative. And so I thought, wow, geez, if we can wake them up to some of these opportunities, well, what a great thing that could be for them and for business. So that was sort of the genesis of it about 7 years ago. Since then, we've worked on, the first thing I thought was, okay, I got the Boys and Girls Club, all this diversity is perfect. The perfect partner for us is the Madison Area Builders Association, right? Because that's the jobs and that's the training and that's the credibility. And I'd been a member of MABA for about 30 years, so I had a pretty easy introduction. And I was really happy right away they got it. They said, yeah, we want on this. Because of this shortage, these trade groups, which are all a part of the National Association of Home Builders, they know they have to morph. They have been morphing from a trade association into a training kind of group, but they haven't figured out how to do it. And they particularly hadn't figured out how to diversify. And it's, again, probably because they don't have a lot of connection with women and Black and brown kids. And so, oh my gosh, this is such a fantastic win-win, right? So about 4 years ago, maybe, both boards decided this was a #1 priority for them. And we got really working on this in earnest. And Mike was working with us as we were looking for a facility. That took us about 3 years. And it was the most frustrating thing to look at these buildings that just didn't measure up. They either weren't the right part of town, or they didn't have the architectural appeal. And what we wanted to do is I want to get these kids to be excited about what they're doing. You know, you see these great facilities that they build at the universities. I wanted to have a facility that they could walk into and they'd be proud of, and their parents would wake up and they'd be proud of. And so it took us about 3.5 years, and finally, about a year ago, I found a building that had formerly been owned by Thermo Fisher and Nicolay Instruments right off of Verona Road. Beautiful building architecturally. It was kind of split level, prairie style building, beautiful bones, and about the right size. It was 17,000 square feet, and listed for $1.3 million, which I think would have been more than that if COVID hadn't happened. But imagine to buy, I got the building under contract, and then I said to our partners, listen, if we can really fund this thing, and if we can really make something of it, I will donate the building to the venture. And because I know we're going to be asking for money, and I want everybody to know I'm all in. And so that happened about June or July of last year. And then we set forth on our program of designing this facility, coming up with a curriculum, hiring staff, raising money. And I got to tell you, it's overwhelming. We're going to show you a video of this design. The architectural firm that we got said, well, okay, because we didn't give them a lot of direction. They said, you can kind of paint it up and it'll look okay. Or we can challenge you to do something really special with the building. And they came up with a design that is just going to be striking. We're doing an addition on the building, which is adding about 3,000 square feet with workspace and a living roof. So we'll have plants. It's going to be fantastic. So anyway, we came up with this design. We started a fundraising program, and I've got to tell you, I'm so proud of our community. Everybody we've talked to, we just started our official capital campaign about a month ago. But before that, we raised about $28 million. Everybody we talked to gave. And I don't think you see that most places. And it was because this community is very generous. And I think it's because it's such a no-brainer. It's such an easy idea to understand. When we talk to people like Joe Parisi or others, and they say, you know, a lot of government programs are confusing. This is really easy to understand. Person's got a job. That's good for business. They spend money in the community. They don't cause crime. A good example. So, well, one person said no. That person, who I won't mention, referred us to the guy that started Duluth Trading Company. He said, go talk to Steve Schleck. Steve Schleck gave us $1.5 million. And Duluth Trading Companies stepped up for another $1.5 million or $2 million, and it's ongoing. Really fantastic. We even had McKenzie Scott, who is the unsolicited, who is Jeff Bezos' ex-wife, give us $4.3 million or something. It's out of the blue. So that's the happy story. The design is very, very exciting. A couple other things are exciting. And I'll tell you what the facility is going to look like. We decided to, well, part of the facility is going to be an entrepreneurship and wealth building facility. Now, I think that's really important, and that's something that I really pushed, because we've got a wealth gap in this country, racial wealth gap in this country. And a lot of the social unrest that we're experiencing is because people don't feel that they have access. They don't feel that they're part of things. The more you can get people earning money, saving money, investing money, they become a part of us, and not, they don't see us as an enemy. They see us as their team members. And so a lot of these, communities don't really have a history of generational wealth building. Every kid that goes through our facility is going to have, we have an entire floor. They're going to be exposed to the idea of saving 10 or 15% from the get-go, investing it, how you invest it, what compound interest looks like, what long-term thinking looks like, and what their life will look like down the road if they do that. Right? A smaller percentage of people will have the ability and the opportunity to run their own business. You know that unrest on State Street that happened after the George Floyd thing? Not one business was owned by a Black person. Now that's a problem. We have to get that in the heads of people, that they can own a business, they can participate. And so we're going to show them, this should be on your radar screen. This is an opportunity for you. And if you are interested, we will show you how to budget, how to market, how you pay taxes, how you manage employees. And if you start a business, we'll be there with you all the way. So that's pretty exciting that we're doing it. Harvard Business School found out about it. And Harvard Business School approached us and said they'd like to participate. This is certainly a little idea, my God. The other thing that's really exciting is last summer, I got to thinking about, okay, the Boys and Girls Club here has 7,000 kids. There's Boys and Girls Clubs in every big city in the country, right? There is also a member of the National Association of Home Builders, an affiliate, in every big city. This thing makes so much sense for both organizations. This should be a national program. And so I asked Michael Johnson, head of the Boys and Girls Club, to call his CEO and president. And we got on a Zoom call and advocated for it. And I asked Chad Lawler, the director of MABA, to call his top guy at the NHB. And both of them loved it. And I'm really proud and happy to announce that at February 11th, 9th or 11th, I think, at the International Builders Home Show, they had a press conference and they signed a joint proclamation that they are going to team up nationally. And in June, Stephanie was in Washington, D.C., along with Chad Lawler, meeting with pilot programs they're doing throughout the country, following our model. This spark that started in Dane County is going to go national. And the amazing thing is there are 2,200,000 unfilled skilled trades jobs in this country. There's 4 million kids in Boys and Girls Clubs. You do the math. This is going to be a really big thing that has started here. So we're really energized to do it right. So you'll see the video. Here's how the facility is going to work. The amazing thing about having the Boys and Girls Club, other than the diversity issue, is that kids start eliminating careers in about 5th grade, right? So these tech programs in high schools, you go in there, there's no Black or brown kids. It's because by the time they get into those programs, which are basically cabinet making anyway, we want to teach electrical, plumbing, carpentry, HVAC, welding, machine operating, that kind of stuff. But anyway, these kids, they have at 2, 3, 4 years old. And we're already starting to do some programs to create general awareness amongst these kids about skilled trades. So they understand what skilled trades are. We are partnering with all of the school system, Madison Area school system, Verona, Middleton, I think Sun Prairie as well. So they're going to bring classes out. They might, Madison Metropolitan School District even suggested they can't afford to hire, plumbing instructors, for example, for all of the schools. So that they're considering hiring one plumbing instructor, putting them in our facility and bringing the kids to them. We're partnering with Madison College because some of these kids might be interested in programs that like construction management or something, that are related to our field. So we're really expanding ourselves. We are also partnering with Habitat for Humanity, and we're going to get kids out onto job sites building homes. So it's good for the community. It's also going to teach them on-site skills. So here's how the thing works. So kids are kind of aware through school and through these programs, through the club. In high school, the real action starts. This facility is going to have classrooms and hands-on work areas. Milwaukee Tools is giving us all the tools we need. So these kids will enter the program. First thing they're going to go through is a life skills program, which is we want kids that embrace hard work. We don't want lazy people. They're going to learn that to be a skilled trades worker, you need to show up on time. You work as a part of a team. You'll get sweaty and dirty sometimes, right? But at the end of the day, you walk away from something you're really proud of. And I know when I walk away from the stuff we do, I'm really proud that that's there because of impact that I've had and the other workers have had. So once they embrace that, they move on. If they don't, we don't want them because we want to impress people. The next step is the classroom and hands-on stuff. They're going to learn the math that's involved in carpentry and basic electrical stuff, and so they'll understand what these different trades involve, and then they'll move on to real hands-on stuff. So we'll be actually working. We'll be building walls. We'll have exposed conduits in our facility, so you can see how the whole system works. But they'll understand the process of construction and what each of these trades involve. And then as they get further on in the program, we're actually going to take them out on the job sites. So they'll understand what it's like to work as a part of a team and what the different conditions are, hot and cold. At the end of their process, which is basically in high school, these kids are going to be better trained, better motivated, and understand better what it takes than the average person who goes looking for a construction job, right? So very, very exciting stuff. The fact that we've already raised $28 million, we're going for 35 million, and we'll get there. The way that breaks down is that we have about $8 million to renovate the facility. And then we have startup and operating costs for the first few years, so we can get ahead. The balance of that money is going to be an endowment. We're going to put $20 or $25 million in the Madison Community Foundation. And it's going to be the biggest endowment that an organization has there. And that will be, we're sizing it to be able to fund this operation in perpetuity. So Michael and Chad and Stephanie and I don't have to raise money anymore. So anyway, very excited that it's here. We are starting construction now. We just did. We expect to be finished in about a year. You will start to see more about it, in the news and some other promotions that I'm doing. But I'm going to turn it over to Stephanie just to talk a little bit about our programming, how she's running that. We're really excited to have her on board. We also have a full staff. We're really raring to go. And then she'll show you the video.
Exciting. Thank you again for listening to us. John kind of stole a little bit of my thunder talking about some of the programming already, but I'm really excited that we're really starting this workforce center and skilled trades program, starting with students as young as, pre-K, so 4 years old. And really the purpose of that is because most students have eliminated construction as an industry that they even want to explore before they've hit high school. So they're not taking those elective classes. They don't even know about it. The average apprentice is actually 30. And that's because they've gone through various different careers before deciding to come into the skilled trades. So we just want to allow the opportunity, the awareness, and that's going to start at 4K. So we're going to go into our pre-K school, we're going to go into the clubs and do weekly awareness campaigns. So that's us sitting with the students and just casually having conversations, reading books, building with them. Just last week, I was building blocks while they were wearing some high-vis gear. And a lot of times is they don't understand the correlation between building with blocks and that being a career. They think it's just playtime. But we need more, discussion about these are actual family sustainable wages that can help them, provide for their family and then also purchase their own home, so that we're building equity within the family and, increasing generational wealth. So I'm really excited. We're starting with I just worked with them last week, so it was really fun working with the little kids. And then as they progress in age, the middle school students will start working and really exposing them more to the career. So bringing them out on field trips. I've been taking them out to job sites to take tours, see how, different positions, what they do. We took them to the parade of homes to see what a project looked like when it's completed. What can you build with your own hands? Some of the people that owned those parade of homes actually were business owners of their own construction companies. So like, I can build this, I can create generational wealth, and I can have an amazing home like this. They were really impressed with the parade of homes, which I actually found a little shocking because I was like, oh, they're going to be bored. But they were like, oh my gosh, this is so amazing. And they had a ton of questions. I brought them with a punch list, to the parade of homes. I'm like, this is what a punch list is. Let's see if we can find any defects or anything wrong. But it really got them looking at the different parts, in the building, in the house. Like, what are look at that tile's got a little dent in it. That's something that owner will look at, in understanding that that's something you have to look for out on the job site. We went to apprenticeship training centers. I took tours of like, where's your school going to be? A lot like a college school visit. You're going to go and visit the apprenticeship training center. This is theoretically going to be your college, your school. This is where you're going to learn and do those, hands-on training. And you're also going to be sitting in a classroom, because a lot of people don't realize how important math and writing communication skills are in the trade. So you're going to have to write up bid proposals. You're going to have to be able to communicate with owners, architects, and lots of different various construction workers. So really excited. We're getting them a little more exposed to different trades. They're going to end with a capstone project where they have to present on their favorite trade or their favorite position. And then as they continue to grow with us, so we're continuing to give them opportunities. Like John said, once they hit high school, they can go into a specific training where they're learning skills. They're learning carpentry skills, electrical skills, plumbing. And then their junior and senior year, they're getting that hands-on experience. So they're taking internships or youth apprenticeships, and we're working directly with the school district and the unions and the different contractors as well. So it's just great community coming together and helping, this awareness and hopefully interest in the building trades. So I think I'm going to show you a quick video. I think it's quick. This is what our new McKenzie Workforce Center will look like.
The McKenzie Workforce Center is building those clubs of Dane County headquarters. It's located at 5215 Road in Fitchburg, Wisconsin. The location is just outside of Madison, located off of Highway 151, and near the existing club's Allied Drive location. The existing building is a split-level prairie style office building nestled into a wooded site on a hillside with extreme visibility, wooded landscape setting, and proximity to train will be essential for the fund. As part of the project, we are proposing to overhaul the existing structure, including increased insulation, all new mechanical, electrical, and plumbing systems, and replacing existing window systems to create a state-of-the-art, modern, contemporary sustainable facility for the education of children as well as the support services required for the mission of the Boys and Girls Clubs. The project includes a expansive addition that wraps around the front of the building and the side, pulling the building as close to the frontage road as possible for increased visibility and additional square footage. The addition is complementary to the existing materials and subtle in color and texture with charcoal metal panels and translucent and transparent glazing along the front. The site is being completely reworked for new parking layout, sustainable features, improved water retention, and a geothermal field to help support the sustainable mission of the building. The addition wraps around the front, encapsulating the existing prairie-style building. As part of the site rework, we're creating outdoor education opportunities for students, and we're always trying to highlight how the elements were constructed to help support the mission of the skilled trades program. As you enter into the building, there's a receptionist that is the wayfinding point for the building. The lower level is where the skilled trades hands-on classrooms are housed, as well as the support services necessary to support and fulfill that mission. The addition is designed to showcase all of the structure and components that help make a building in order to use the building as an education resource for students. The first classroom is where we have a construction technology room with CNC fabrication, construction vehicle simulators, welding simulators, and is really a classroom intended for hands-on training as well as virtual training sessions and opportunities for certification, videotaping programs for wider distribution. The social hall that wraps the front of the building is where lockers, safety, protection, waiting areas, all of those support services are housed for the students. It's intended to be a social hallway with activity. At the end, we're providing restrooms, washers and dryers, kitchenettes, any of the support services that students may need if they're spending a prolonged period of time in this building. The last classroom at the end of the hallway is intended to be more of an open, flexible classroom where students are able to take all of the raw materials that it takes to build a building, bring them together, learn how all the systems and components go together. And it also has an overhead unloading door for taking projects in and out, receiving and shipping goods. And this space is really intended to be more like what you would see in the field. The social hall wraps back up to a staircase and atrium that carves and connects all the levels of the building and is kind of a terminus and circulation point. Within this lobby space, we do have additional conference rooms, meeting spaces, and then to the right, there are all of the office support spaces necessary to help run the skilled trades program. We've carved windows into that first workshop so that everyone that enters into the McKenzie Workforce Center knows that the skilled trades program is a core component of this building. The next level houses an entrepreneurial center, kitchen space, as well as the educational support spaces for the Boys and Girls Clubs. A shop entrepreneurial center is both a classroom space, but also a boardroom space, another revenue potential for renting out to other nonprofits. So a really flexible, movable, usable space with views overlooking the rooftop terrace that is created with the addition. The blue walls here are where the kitchenette is located to be used for everyday visitors to the office building, but also for those extra events that may happen after hours. At the end of this level is the educational support offices of the Boys and Girls Clubs in Dane County. These are both permanent offices for staff that need a full-time space here, but also touchdown spaces for staff that have locations in the school districts. There are new restrooms, gender neutral and multi-occupant restrooms, mothers' rooms, elevators, sprinkler systems. All of those are included in this project to really create a state-of-the-art workspace for the everyday users, but also for the students. The history tunnel here is the connector piece that connects to more of the headquarters of the Boys and Girls Clubs in Dane County. This space has another receptionist. We've carried wood chunks throughout the building to help tie that mission of the trades back in. This space also has a dedicated conference room, as well as smaller meeting rooms scattered throughout. Office spaces are primarily open office, but some enclosed offices where needed or shared offices. The conference rooms in the middle are small enough that they're usable for a variety of sizes of meetings. Cubicles allow for more collaboration that is currently possible at the existing facilities, as well as increased density. The entire interior finish palette reflects the branding of Boys and Girls Clubs of America, with colors, textures, marketing, signage, really creating a vibrant, and modern workspace. Beautiful views of the site are very visible through all of the open office areas where you can see a variety of wooded landscapes, prairie style landscapes, etc. This takes you back to that history tunnel, which will then lead you back through the break area, which is the open break area overlooking the patio space, and then to the rooftop terrace. The studs that you see are intended to reflect the mission of the skilled trades program, but also the additional kind of subtle donor opportunities. And we scattered those throughout the building in purposeful ways. The roof terrace is created over that building addition. This is a space intended to be used for casual lunch conversations, outdoor education, movie nights for club members, event opportunities, fundraising, events. Really, you name it and it can happen out here. And it's kind of nestled into the hillside and the wooded area. Along the side of the building is an outdoor education learning stair that has a pergola wrapping up over it with solar panels so we can teach students about the future of sustainability in the construction trades. This is intended to feel like a boardwalk with water retention underneath. The McKenzie Workforce Center and Boys and Girls Clubs headquarters in Dane County will open in 2020.
There you go. So we're open for questions, but you know, I got to tell you, this group that is involved, we got a 28-member advisory board now. We've got a campaign committee, we've got a director, assistant VP of workforce development, we've got other staff hired, we've got all these partners in place, and it's the energy that everybody feels is just so electrifying, because I think we know this is something important. We're doing this it's primarily privately funded. We have almost no government funding. And that's, you know, that's empowering and energizing to see what people who just really care can do. The other thing that's really got me is meeting these young kids, these people. Find out, you know, a lot of them just don't have any vision. They don't have any idea that there's a lot of great future for them necessarily. Schools, and I'm learning this from, there was this great kid that was an intern, he's from Los Angeles. He said that whenever he tries to express his dreams to his teachers and his guidance counselors, they just laugh at him. He said the people that are really advocating for us, for the future, it's colleges, which isn't for everybody, the military, and sports. And if you don't fit into one of those things, schools have not done a very good job of creating career opportunities and exposing people. So we see these young people get excited about their future, you know, wow, I can do that. I can live in a house. I can drive in a nice car. Just makes you feel good and makes you have some hope about where we might end up, you know, as people out in the future. So, any questions? Yeah.
There's a question online from a woman.
Oh.
To tell you what the question is.
Yeah, Lynn.
I think her question was,
Oh.
What is the difference between, once you prepare these kids, what's the difference between going into a union and going to a workforce management, like MATC?
Sure. Well, they'll have tracks Stephanie probably could expand on this. Every one of these kids is going to get hired. There is such demand. We've even got the University of Wisconsin asking, can we participate? I think just the builder is working with us. But a kid can go right out of high school. They'll be workforce ready, so they can take a job right away. Right. Another track could be a union track, and our program is going to be offering apprenticeship credit. They'll also get high school credit and credit at Madison College. So they could go into construction management. Or why don't you talk, Stephanie, about some of the options they could have?
Yeah, so I think kind of what our program essentially is just giving the youth options. So here are some different pathways. I come with a background in construction, working for contractors for over 15 years. Got into employee development, and that's when I really wanted to bring in a nonprofit and help even more people in our community. I was finding out, as a general contractor, going to career fairs, that most people don't know how to get into an apprenticeship. They don't know what it is. And it just kind of blew my mind that there is this huge gap where people just don't know. They don't know. And so, since we're going to be working with the children at a young age, we are going to be creating those relationships, those mentorships with them. And we're going to essentially kind of be like their counselors. We're going to help guide them. They're going to give us feedback on which direction they want to go. And then we'll tell them or give them guidance on what's the best pathway or what are some pathways for them. So we want them to make the choices for their future instead of us forcing them to go down one route or another.
What would be once you have a great move job there in 6 months?
Well, I don't know if you've thought through that, but my vision was, first of all, I think they're going to have relationships with these builders, and the builders are going to be cherry picking people. I think there won't be much of a need to advertise for these kids. I think it'll just be the opposite of that. I think the employers are going to want to come in. Like UW said, we've got 1,800 skilled tradespeople, and we can't keep up. We need more. Sean Cleary Building System said I'd hire 400 of them if I could. Actually. Yeah, I mean it's. He donated, so I think he's serious. But it's just there's going to be so much demand. Stephanie, maybe you could.
Yeah, and I think another essential partner that we are partnering with is WRTP Big Step, and they are primarily help individuals get into apprenticeship. They hold career fairs periodically throughout the year, and I think in partnership we'll definitely have those career fair opportunities for our students. And I think it's essential, being in the Madison community, is partnering up with other organizations that are already having career fairs. Just because there are so many in the Madison area, it makes more sense to join forces together. Madison can kind of be very competitive with the nonprofit world. And so I really feel like bringing our community together, we have to partner up with all, other community organizations in Madison so that we're reaching more people.
I know that the Urban League has been trying to do training people for skilled trades. And I don't know if you've had any communication with them or have made any efforts to team up and cooperate.
Do you want to answer that question?
Yeah. So I am very familiar with Urban League's construction program. WRTP has one and OFS has one. And again, we are partnering up with all of the community organizations. That is one pathway. Again, Urban League's construction program is after high school. Yeah. So it's an option, but the students might decide they want to go straight into a job, or they might want to go into apprenticeship. But if they feel like maybe they came on a little bit later, maybe we didn't meet them until their senior year and they didn't have time to go through a training, we can give them that option. And that's why it's really important that we stay involved in the community, find out what other organizations are doing, so that way we can give them a plethora of choices.
Yeah, just to expand on that, what's really different about this, most of the workforce programs are second chance programs. So somebody's already gotten out there, they might have committed a crime, but they've gone on a different path. And what we want to do is take these kids early, before they start making bad choices. We want them to be thinking of the future.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, John and Stephanie. On behalf in honor of you speaking today, we make a contribution for all of our speakers to Rotary International's Polio and Polio Plus Fund. So we'll include you in that. Thank you. Next week, our speakers are, we have classification talks, Kay Wilson and Gray Miller. And thank you for being present in person and in Zoom. If you're on Zoom, if you haven't seen the in-person, this room is, since last time, this room doubled in space. It looks great. And I think we can spread out and we're not on top of each other. It's good. So, and remember, service above self, and have a great week. Thanks, everybody. Thank you. Hey, Glenn.
Molly, your voice. I thought about this for years. You should be talking to someone standing back the room. Because your volume
Doesn't increase. It needs to be loud. Okay.
rather once in a while, I look up, I think you're talking to yourself.
Thank you. It's good that I need that feedback. Thank you.
Now with a larger room, you want to try to
Yeah.
ejaculate.
Yep. Okay. All right. Aaron, I don't know if Aaron, you want the bed? Would this show up, say it's recording? I thought I set it up to record, but I didn't hit record at the beginning. Because I didn't, because we were going.
So mine, I haven't set it up.
I did too.
Okay, so maybe
Okay. All right, and then if I'm looking for the, like, who is the Zoomers online, how do I see that after the fact? Do I close it, or do I look at?
so after the fact, you have it on a record on your Zoom, like
Oh, okay.
it will show you if you go back to the meeting. It will show you
Oops.
So just stop sharing.
Yeah.
And then end.